Okay, let's get going. We got a nice group of people this morning. Good turnout. Thank you very much for joining the call. I appreciate you spending the time to do this kickoff, and I also appreciate you volunteering to help do the curation of the tracks for ONF Connect. Okay, so this meeting is being recorded, and I wanted to do that to make it available to anybody who wouldn't be available to be on the call today, to make it easier for them. Okay, here's a picture of the website. So if you go to ONF, you can get to the ONF Connect site. Last December was the first time that we held the ONF Connect show. Probably most of you know, we used to run Open Networking Summit, and then we passed that along to the Linux Foundation. And we felt that we weren't seeing a show that was the type of show that we were looking for our membership. Excuse me, could people go ahead and mute? I'm hearing a little bit of noise on the call. Thanks. And we had a really great show in December, had a lot of good feedback. And the goal of this show is really to be for the membership. It's driven by the operators, so it's really about what the operators need, what the operators are doing. And the content is, what it's not is pay to present. So we're looking for very good technical content from people who are working out here in these projects, and it's our job to make sure that we get good tracks put together for that. And last year we had more than 90% of the people polled wanted to come back to the show. They were so pleased with content. So we got a high bar. Okay, this is us. This is a wiki page that I created, and on this wiki page you should be able to find the main information you need, and there's links to the CFP, there's everybody's email and everybody's on the list, and then I think everybody's already on the Google group, but the information's here for anybody who needs it. These are the tracks that we're going with this year. And so first one is broadband track, and that'll include things around CEBA, Volta, and RCord. And you can see there's an estimate of the number of 30-minute slots that we expect to have for the track. And that's based a little bit on what happened last year, but also on the breadth of the material that is in the particular track. Second one is what we would call next generation SDN. And that is around Stratum and P4, and we'll probably have some things around the next generation of ONOS. And there's some discussion, even though you see ONOS as a separate track here, track 5, there's some discussion about whether we want to include that in next generation SDN. But this is the way you currently see them out on the site and what people will currently put their submissions in for. Third one is the NFV fabric and SDN backhaul, and this is around the Trellis project. Fourth one around optical networks, and I've also put in here TAPI as well as the information modeling. Track 5 ONOS. Track 6 is the 5G and mobile track, so that will include the converged multi-access core, COMAC, as well as OMEC, which is the open source EPC, and the work that we're doing at ORAN, and it's kind of more generically known as MCORD, mobile cord. Track 7 is for Cord as a platform, and more specifically as a platform for the edge cloud. And as you know, this is a serious buzzword area. There's a lot of activity going on around the edge cloud. So this will be the track for those presentations. Track 8 is for research and academic poster sessions. And then track 9 is for ecosystem and industry adoption. Okay. Any questions on tracks?
How does how does this differ to last year's tracks? Were there any changes?
There's a little bit more covered because COMAC and OMEC are new, but otherwise it's, well, also next gen SDN was not really as prominent. But T2 and T6 are expanded, but otherwise it's pretty similar.
Okay, cool. Next question is, will there be an industry exhibition like last year?
I'm not sure what you mean by industry exhibition.
Last year there were some stands from Barefoot and the likes to present their enabling technology. So we had this breakout room where there were some stands, a small booth.
Yeah, demo hall.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh, you mean a demonstration?
Yes, yes, demos basically.
Yes, there will be demo space.
Cool. Are we also reviewing those?
We are not reviewing those, no.
Okay.
And actually, last year we had talked about call it industry or community recognition session, which was also a way to make sure the content in these tracks was technical and not marketing or kind of giving highlights to just people that have contributed, right? We wanted to separate kind of the technical content from the how do we celebrate people of the community that have contributed from a corporate standpoint, if you will. How's that being integrated or not this year?
Yeah, so that's a good point. So same that the tracks are focused on technical content. We will have right before lunch each day as part of the plenary session where everybody's involved. A little bit of discussion of what's coming up on technical tracks in the afternoon. Also on the first day, we will do a community recognition event.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to move on. This is the layout. Currently, we have 5 different rooms, and the day is split into 7 slots that are 30 minutes each. And so we'll have to overlay the content into something that looks like this. We may be able to adjust a little bit, but this is probably what it's going to look like. This doesn't show the morning. The morning is all of the plenary keynotes. Okay, one thing that's new this time is having track leads. So when we did it in December, we did have people at ONF that were watching over the track content, but it was mainly me and the ONF leads assembling that track content. And this year I wanted to make sure that we had more than ONF representing that. So I really wanted to get one person from industry in each of the tracks to help drive to have good content there. And so each of those tracks you'll see has 2 leads. One is from ONF, one is from industry. And the role of the co-leads is on this page. So first, of course, developing the best technical track that we can for the topic. And to do that, the expectation is, in addition to seeing what we receive, I want track leads to actively solicit the content you want. Kind of, how would you create your dream track for what is going on in the industry? Who would you really like to see come and talk in the track? So curate it. And we talk a lot about the audience that we're targeting, and we get into this a little bit of a debate, right? Is how much is for a totally new person versus somebody that is experienced and we're trying to up-level them. And SDN is old enough now, which it's hard, I can't believe I'm saying that, but we have a lot of people who have been in this for a while, and so we really want to target an audience that is the experienced developer, right? We have a lot of developers that have been working in different types of projects in this space. So we want very beefy interesting topics for that category. Okay, the track leads will also assign any of the program committee members to review submissions. And also as the reviews come in, sometimes you'll find that they're wildly different in ratings, and so it's up to the track leads to understand why there is a different view in the ratings and to resolve those differences. So as a track lead, of course, you're also going to be doing reviews, and you may be asked to do reviews outside your track, so please do that. And then as we get the final presentations for the tracks, we want the track leads to make sure and review those and provide any final comments. And final presentations, we will try to get them in a week ahead of time before the event. As you've probably experienced, and I know I have, these things tend to go right down to the last minute. So we'll do our best to see the presentations and make sure that they're in good shape, and make sure that we have the best content for those we can. So any questions on role of track co-leads? Okay. Okay, let's see, is this really the next slide? Here we go. Okay, principles. And when I was on a program committee for ONS, this is very similar to a set of principles, and I've borrowed that and retooled it a little bit, but I think it's pretty much the type of principles we want. So, of course, not everyone's an expert in all areas, so if you don't want to review a particular submission or feel that it's not appropriate, no problem. We don't expect everyone to review everything. Also, it's up to you to not review anything that you're conflicted with, you know, submissions from you, your colleague, your organization. And HotCrap has a facility in it where you can lay out your conflicts, and then it will flag them automatically for you if you want to use that. Okay, we're looking for new ideas, concepts, things that haven't been presented at other events. We want to try and get coverage across all the layers of architecture. We want to have a good balance of topics, companies, speakers, and we also want to make sure that we have a good diversity of speakers and organizations. And I know last year we had a large number of submissions, for example, from Red Hat, right? So we have to be a little careful on how many Red Hat speakers we put into different areas. So just making sure that we get good representation across all organizations, and we don't have any organization that's been really aggressive about making submissions to be able to take over a topic. Speaker qualification, that's really important, so we don't want marketing people talking about technical topics, for example. When people submit, they mostly get the tracks right, but sometimes it's clear that it could be in a different track, and if you feel as a reviewer that it should be in a different track, go ahead and say that. And there's a place in HotCrap for you to make that recommendation. We don't want any product pitches, and I apologize, I have a leaf blower going right behind me. Of course, this is when they choose to do it. So no product pitches. They're the ones that get the lowest scores, and we had half a dozen of those last year. We want to provide higher ratings in general for things that are open source, open networking, including deployment examples. So any types of usage of these platforms gets higher marks. End users, operators, actual deployments get higher priorities, all things being equal. And also future and forward-looking topics get a slight advantage. And as you go through these, you'll find that there are submissions that are similar. And also feel free to group those into what you think could be a maybe an interesting panel discussion or a group presentation. Okay, any questions on principles? Okay, hot crap, I didn't name it, Harvard did. But it's a good tool, and if you're active in the academic community, you've probably used it before for papers. But we've gone ahead and set up accounts for everyone who's on the program committee. Everyone should have received an email to set the password, but if not, you can just go to the page and log in with your email, and you can reset your password by saying you forgot it. And then I'd suggest you enter your interests as well as your conflicts in your profile, and then HotCrap can be used to enable the features for matching people with interests and for avoiding conflicts. And then it's very easy to just select to review the submissions that you want to see. There's ways to search for them. And then what you end up filling out for each of these proposals is, in your mind, what the merit is. And it goes from reject to strong accept. What your expertise is in that particular topic. Familiarity up to expert. And then if you have any comments for the program committee, and it will only be the program committee that sees those, the author won't see those. And then if you want to move it to a different track, you can make that recommendation. Those are the two text fields. Okay, and this is our timeline. So starting today, we can review papers. There's only one that's been submitted so far, and we'll continue to put out requests and emails, and our marketing people will be asking for topics, but also if you can, again, solicit from the different forums that you work in, as well as any colleagues that you know that you'd like to see make presentations, please do that. We'll have a soft close on May 31st. There'll be a hard close a week later, and maybe that can get extended through the weekend, but 6/7, 6/9 will be the absolute hard close for all of these things. And then we'll have a couple of weeks to go through and finalize the selections and let the authors know that they've been selected, and we'll start announcing what content is selected for the different tracks. And by July 9th, it should be final in the Sketch program. And we're talking a little bit about how to get presentations in early enough to have reviews about them. So currently we're thinking to have them in by the 2nd of September, and then have the 3rd through the 10th to be able to review them. Okay, any questions on anything? I think that's my last slide. I'll jump out of that, and just for fun, this is what you'll see when you go to HotCrap, and you can see you can search, and you can pick active papers or all papers, things you've reviewed. So if you do a search today, you get the one submission that we have, SIBA with microplug OLT. And if you went to that, this is what you would see. You see the abstract, and then the information about authors, what track, how long it is, who the audience will be, and why it would be relevant to that audience. So pay attention to the information that was entered there, and then you get to write a review, and with the radio buttons, select merit, your expertise, and then it's really helpful if you do have some thoughts about it, like, hey, this sounds like an interesting topic, but I'm worried it's a product presentation, then the track leads can follow up on that with the submitter to get more information. And then if you have a recommendation to move it to a different track, and the track list is there. Okay.
Is a supplier listed? I didn't see it, but maybe it's there.
The supplier
Well, there's a vendor. I think it was a vendor presentation. This one, right?
abstract. Let's see. Yeah, it says product vendor.
Yeah, that's Tibbet, Kevin.
If you go to details, you can see a little bit more information about the authors.
Got it. How do you? Okay, I think I got it. Thanks.
Yep. Okay. Any questions? Anything at all?
And the actual presentation itself?
The actual presentation itself, we, you know, like I say, if we're lucky, we'll see it a week ahead of time.
Okay.
You know, but what happens is we have to follow up with people, and I know I personally tend to like to have right up to the last minute to work on a presentation. So I guess I don't fault people for being late with theirs. Okay, and if
So, and what do you do if the final presentation is not in line with the abstract? So on paper it looks, or in the abstract it looks nice, but the real presentation is a product pitch. How will you deal with those kind of situations?
yeah, I think that you know, that it's a good idea for the track leads to have, I think, backup presentation in their pocket in case something goes wrong. Last year we didn't have anybody as a no-show or any problems, but it can happen. And again, I think that being actively, you know, being proactive about working with the authors and making sure you understand their intent. You know, like if there's not enough information in the abstract, certainly go back and ask authors to provide additional information, or if you have concerns, you know, feel free to send them a message and ask them what their intentions are. So hopefully by, you know,
question.
Yep, go ahead.
Should we formally have maybe like an intermediate draft, a deadline, just to make sure that it does align with the abstract for the presentation that is?
I think we've discussed this, right? We even discussed having presentations due during this part of the CFP, right? Like three months ahead of time. Like there's no way people are going to do that. But I think honestly the best you're going to do, I mean, everyone's busy, right? Is we're going to be able to get an abstract. Maybe we can get, you know, an outline of information from the author, but it's not likely that you're going to get an early version. You know, maybe you can get, you know, a storyline or. But
I meant to say it could be after the abstracts are accepted. You know, in between like the July and September timeframe.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, once you feel like you're ready to accept it, you know, in July, I think following up on some of these is probably a good idea. I mean, the track leads will know. I think they know a lot of these people, right? And for the most part, there's not a problem, right? But sometimes there's an unknown and it's not clear what they're going to do, right? And so then I'd recommend that the track leads just get more active about understanding what the presentation is going to be and try to get some early versions of it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no, good comment, thanks.
I mean, the last year, if I'm not mistaken, there was some back and forth between a couple of presenters and the group to make sure that the presentation was less of a market pitch and more of a thought on the process of open sourcing and an open source oriented solution, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. Any other questions?
I think you brought up panels before. Are there specific time slots or topics that are thought of it being part of a panel, or is that going to be discussed later? How does that process work?
Yeah, so I think, of course, any of us PC members can suggest a panel, but definitely the track co-leads should be thinking about whether a panel discussion makes sense. Sometimes it just presents itself as an idea once you start seeing some of these submissions and you start seeing different viewpoints in the submissions. And then you can get an interesting, lively panel discussion going. But there's not a particular slot. I mean, you could have a 30-minute panel. You could also have a longer panel. Take a couple of the slots. And those suggestions can be made. You should feel free if you come up with some good ideas for that. It'd be very, very much welcomed.
One other question. So, I missed the beginning. I had troubles getting signed in. So will you share the slides?
Yes, I will. I'll be sending the slides out to the email list after this meeting ends.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, the slides are also, it's on this wiki page. I've got resources at the bottom, and the kickoff slides will also be available there. So I'll send both the wiki page link as well as a link to the presentation.
All right, excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
Somebody mentioned before about recognition. If possible, we haven't formalized a lot yet on that, but if anybody has any ideas on what he would like to see happening on the recognition side, we have tried a few formats at some events about recognition of the community. But if anybody here has some ideas or has somebody that he thinks should be recognized in some way, just reach out to either me, Bill, or Brian, or Charles, and we'll make sure to hear your suggestion and see and try to make sure it's incorporated into the conference, I guess.
Okay, thanks, Andrea. Okay, one last chance. Any other questions? No? Okay, well, I'm willing to have a call anytime you want if you want to discuss anything, and you've got the email list. If you have questions for send it out to the PC so everyone can benefit from the answers. And happy reviewing, and again, I really appreciate everyone here volunteering to help out with this important task. All right, so for those in Asia, sleep well, and everyone else, have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right, bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Bill. Bye. Bye, Steve.